Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest on the polar plunge we are seeing over the course of the United Kingdom at the moment, with widespread wintry showers, very cold conditions quite widely, with a very cold, bitterly cold wind chill, with many areas seeing snow. Even to low-lying areas have seen some snowfall. Nothing too major, but I've been seeing some amazing images on Twitter of big wintry showers, some thunder snow for some, especially across Scotland, and we're going to see this continue over the next few days. It's going to turn gradually a little bit more settled, with less showers around, and them retreating more towards the coast over the next day or two. But then that will give way to really bitterly cold temperatures overnight, with widespread frosts all the way through to about Monday, with many areas getting down to sort of -2, -3, -4 degrees, really unseasonably cold. So we'll have a look at that latest with the live radar. Then we'll have a look at the UK Met Office run, look at the precipitation temperature, and also have a look at the mid-range with the GFS and the ensembles, as this colder spell looks likely to last to around Sunday, Monday, as I said. Then it turns briefly milder, and perhaps there is another sign of another little colder snap, perhaps the end of next working week, where we could see colder conditions return. Not severe as this cold snap we're seeing now, but still much colder than average, potentially returning frosts and wintriness by the end of next week and next weekend. So remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. Some of you may have noticed over the last few days that my voice has been a little bit off, bit blocked up, and I have, funnily enough, come down with Omicron, which has been interesting. To be honest, I didn't even think of it until I took a test yesterday. So unfortunately, I have got Omicron at the moment, but it's not too bad staying indoors when it is really quite cold outside. I'm not going to lie. If I had this sort of illness pre-pandemic, I wouldn't have thought of anything of it. I would have been sort of continuing in my daily life, but we'll see what happens with it. At the moment, really, my only main symptom is a little bit blocked up, and I can't really smell anything, which has been interesting. So hopefully things will be back to normal soon. So sorry if the voice is a little bit off, and has been a little bit off over the last few days. So do start by having a look at the precipitation radar. You can see at the moment we've got widespread wintry showers. Now, if I were you, I'd ignore the sort of green and blues on here, because it's very difficult in this sort of scenario to be forecasting snow and rain and sort of in between, because we're seeing a wide array of wintry showers. For example, where I am, I've seen some rain, I've seen a little bit of rain, mostly actually snow, but also grauple and hail mixed within it, and it just depends on the shower, sort of the cloud top, and sort of the type of shower as well. With a bigger, sort of taller convective shower, more likely to be hail. More shallow, dying off shower, more likely to sort of just be rain if it's not particularly intense, and one of these bigger, intense, larger showers more likely to be snow. So these sort of blues and greens are the radar's best estimates at trying to figure it out, but it's very, very difficult with these showers having an all range of different precipitation types. So if you are seeing any of these showers, it's most likely wintry of nature. Most of this is falling as snow, grauple or hail. Very limited is settling. There have been some images I've seen, some settling across northern England, and a little bit in the far southeast, where we have seen some more precipitation, more persistent precipitation. But these showers are going to continue, and you can actually see, although sort of last night and earlier this morning they were mainly confined to far eastern areas, they're coming much more inland, because with the stronger sunshine warming up, the surface temperatures were seeing sort of 6-7 degrees, combined with the very cold upper air temperatures, -10 degrees at 850 HPA, so only a few thousand feet in the air. That temperature contrast is building these massive convective showers. So that's why the beefiest showers across central England at the moment, with very heavy sort of snow and hail shafts within these, whiteout conditions for a good 5-10 minutes within these showers. They are blowing through quite quickly on the easterly breeze, but it is going to mean you're out there. 1 minute it's sunshine, not feeling too bad, pretty chilly. Next minute it's freezing cold with heavy wintry precipitation coming around, and that's going to continue over the next few hours. It should slowly die away over the course of this evening as the sun does set, with those showers becoming mainly confined to sort of eastern areas, so Scotland, northeast England, down down through the East Midlands, into East Anglia and the far southeast, where we do have an ice warning in force. And we do have another weather warning in force, snow and ice for the far southeast, parts of East Anglia, through Essex down into Kent. Perhaps, as you can see, this more intense precipitation, that's around the centre of the low that has dropped to our south, bringing all this precipitation over Europe. Perhaps this precipitation may sort of come on land for a little bit over the course of tomorrow morning, perhaps giving some more persistent snow, and there is warnings in force for that, for maybe a couple centimetres of snow over higher ground, perhaps even to low-lying areas, because of course it is falling overnight when those temperatures are dropping down closer towards freezing. But a real wild day out there, so if you do enjoy wintry precipitation, you're going to be seeing you would have seen a plenty of it today, and will continue to see plenty of it today. You see pretty much all areas seeing some form of shower. If you haven't seen any wintriness today, count yourself very, very unlucky, because the majority of areas have seen precipitation in the form of snow, graupel, hail, or sleet. And that will continue, as I said, but becoming more confined to the east coast over the course of the next few hours. So if you have a look at temperatures, you can see actually, if we get them to load, they're not actually that cold. You can see max temperatures getting up towards sort of 6-7 degrees, but wind chill is making it feel much, much colder. And you can see across Europe the same sort of pattern where we have more persistent precipitation, evaporative cooling. You see those temperatures holding just above freezing or towards freezing, where we have more sunshine. You see those temperatures are dropping. You can see that reflected across central England as well. These colder patches where we've seen more heavier showers across northern England, perhaps just to the across central areas as well, where we've seen some of these beefy showers popping up. That's where we've seen the colder conditions. But elsewhere, further westwards and further southwards, you can see maybe getting up towards 7-8 degrees, but feeling actually quite a lot colder than that. Quite a lot colder than that with the wind. And if we do have a look at those wind feel-like temperatures, you can see that it is cold. Anything sort of light blue and below is feeling like freezing, or down sort of minus a couple degrees. So feeling really, really quite cold, bitterly cold, especially on the east coast. A few areas still hovering, sort of feel like temperatures around 2, 3, 4 degrees. But for end of March, early April, this is really bitter, considering it was sort of 20 degrees last week. Really quite cold. And another thing we can have a look at is the dew point, which, is another... It is symbolic once again of this type of air mass, and you can see these sort of more browny colours showing real cold, sort of browny yellow colours showing a real cold Arctic air mass. And you can see the more moist air masses, the greens are much further south, and so you can see all this air coming in from the Arctic. So we do now have a look at the weather warnings. We do have the ice warning still in force, and that is in force from 9 p.m. this evening until 10 a.m. tomorrow. Snow and hail showers could lead to icy surfaces. Now you may be wondering why we haven't got any warnings in force right now, even though we have widespread wintry showers, and it's because the wintry showers aren't going to cause any disruption really. Although they may temporarily reduce visibility significantly, may give a light covering for sort of 10 or 15 minutes before they melt away in the sunshine. It can't really cause too much disruption, as I said, because of the strength of the sun this time of year. Any snow that does settle is very, very unlikely to stick around unless we have really thick cloud, and with this sort of showery regime, it's more sunshine and showers. However, towards the evening, as the sun sets, temperatures do drop. Whenever we see some of these wintry showers, they're more likely to cause settling, and if they do fall at around sort of 8, 9, 10 p.m, melt, and then clear skies come, that's where we start to see ice patches stretch. We've had a lot of precipitation through the day, wet surfaces, and those temperatures plummet overnight. That's why we have these warnings in force. Ice warning in force from 9 p.m. this evening till 10 a.m. tomorrow. Perhaps 1 to 3 centimetres of snow across hillier areas, maybe 5 centimetres over 200 metres across Scotland, Northumberland, and the North Yorkshire Moors, maybe above 300 metres. The odd covering is possible to low-lying areas, but this is likely to be short, and it does melt away quite quickly. High likelihood, lower end of the impact matrix. We also do have a warning in force on Friday for snow and ice in the far southeast from midnight until 10 a.m. Risk of disruption from ice and perhaps snow on Friday morning, as I said, across parts of East Anglia, from Essex down into parts of Kent as well. Band of rain, sleet and snow is expected to affect parts of east and southeast. Perhaps 1 to 2 centimetres of snow in a few spots, and we could see, and it could also affect visibility and driving conditions, and any snow will melt on Friday morning. High likelihood, lower end of the impact scale, and as we'll have a look at the UKMO Run in a minute, you'll see that it is very, very patchy and very uncertain, because remember, this band of snow, or band of precipitation, let's just say, may stay offshore, it may come on land, and that will make drastic differences. It's not one of these scenarios where it's sort of uncertain between whether it's rain or snow. It's uncertain really on positioning of this precipitation band. But of course, there's enough confidence that the Met Office have put a warning in force, so we do have to keep an eye on it. So if you are in the southeast corner, be prepared tomorrow morning to wake up to some slick conditions, perhaps a covering of snow at least on sort of grassy surfaces, on cars, and perhaps some ice as well on parts. So we do have a look at the UK Met Office run, have a look at precipitation and temperature. So you can see, as I'm recording this, around 4 or 5 p.m, you can see those widespread showers. Actually, the UK Met Office run hasn't got it as widespread as it is in reality, much more widespread actually than this run is making out. And you can see, of course, seeing those showers around sort of 7, 8 p.m. start to die away more towards the coast. You can see heavier showers still towards the coast from sort of lake effect snowfall from the North Sea, and lesser of the sort of convective showers that we're seeing at the moment because of the strength of the sun. But you can see the far southeast, those wintry showers and more persistent bands perhaps moving in the far southeast. Very, very uncertain with the positioning. You can see much heavier snow just near the near continent, perhaps 5 to 10 centimetres of snow across northern France, and it really does depend how far inland that does come. So by tomorrow morning, you can see again, showers are mainly along the coast, but they do spread inland once again through tomorrow afternoon. Perhaps not as widespread as today, but it is something we do need to keep an eye on, because as we saw a minute ago, these showers did get underdone a little bit today. So we have to keep an eye on that tomorrow. But again, could be more widespread wintry showers, especially through the Midlands and northern England. Another persistent band of wintriness does fall down the western side. Could turn to heavier snow for parts of Scotland, perhaps, and through early hours of Saturday through Wales and the far southwest of England. Something to keep an eye on there. And it depends again on timings. The more of that falls overnight, the more likely that is to fall as snow. And through Saturday evening, you can see mostly clear skies for many. Mean temperatures will drop away significantly, but more cloud starts to build in for Monday as we see westerly winds come back in with a lot of precipitation. But as I said, it's looking likely beyond that northerly winds return by the end of the working week. So if we do have a look at the max temperatures, you can see early this morning widespread cold conditions towards or below freezing. This afternoon temperatures widely around 4 to 7 degrees, maybe 8 or 9 degrees in a few spots further southwards and westwards. Over the course of the evening, temperatures will drop away once again, down to towards freezing, if not below freezing. A few areas may hold slightly above freezing with more cloud amounts. And you can see by tomorrow afternoon, once again, another chilly day, 5 to 8 degrees. But as I said, feeling much, much colder than that. Through Friday evening, once again, another widespread frost towards freezing, if not below freezing. And by Saturday afternoon, once again, temperatures cold, really cold, around 5 to 8 degrees, maybe 9 degrees, the odd 9 or 10 degrees here or there, but still feeling really chilly. Sunday night's going to be bitterly cold, especially further southwards with clearer skies, as we have precipitation starting to move in the far northwest. And you can see -1 to -5 degrees in the south, really unseasonably cold, could be damaging to plants. And you can see by Sunday, temperatures are starting to rise with less of a easterly breeze, with that colder air mass starting to wane. You can see maybe 9 or 10 degrees, but still feeling chilly. But by Monday afternoon, widespread temperatures returning back into the low double digits, perhaps 13, 14 degrees is possible. And by Tuesday evening, you can see 9 or 10 degrees overnight into Tuesday morning, which is higher really than we are going to see over the next 3 or 4 days. So turning milder towards the start of next week, but that cold air, you can still see it just to our north, is never too far away, and it looks likely it will be plunging southwards back again by the start or by the end of next working week into the weekend. So we do now have a look at the GFS. Have a look at what that's showing over the next couple of weeks. We'll run through it quite quickly. Again, wanted to emphasise the video on the short-term impacts of this wintry weather. You can see at the moment northeasterly breeze, very cold wind with a cold air mass, and you see the high pressure just topple, and that's why the showers are going to cut out through Saturday. And you can start seeing more of a north to westerly breeze starts to come in, but with milder air around the high pressure system. But you can see by sort of Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, we start to go back into another northerly wind with cold air sinking southwards once again. Not quite as bitterly cold. We'll have a look at the air masses in a minute before high pressure takes over once again, before we see more westerly winds coming back in. But with the jet stream pushed southwards because of the blocking, it could be very unsettled and stormy potentially in the south, with these localised low pressure systems producing a lot of heavy rain and gusty winds. And that just continues all the way into the longer term before high pressure starts to build back in, perhaps turning things a little bit drier and warmer once again for the middle of April. But that's so far away, it's very uncertain. I don't want to make too much of that at this stage. So if you have a look at those upper air temperatures, it's going to be cold, quite cold over the next 10 days. You can see bitterly cold at the moment. That continues over the next couple of days before we see more of a westerly wind come in, and then another northerly blast arrives for next Wednesday into Thursday, all the way to Friday, before Saturday, Sunday, maybe some milder air in the far south, but the north is still pretty chilly, before we start to see westerly winds with alternating air masses, before right at the end of the run, high pressure building back in, with then warm, mild upper air temperatures could be turning things milder and warmer for the middle of April, perhaps getting up towards mid to high teens, maybe even 20 degrees once again. But very uncertain with that, so I don't want to make too much of it, as I said, as it's so far in the future. So we do have a look at the ensembles. First, the GFS, you can see very cold at the moment over the next 3 or 4 days. And then we see a rapid rise in temperatures around Monday to well above average, actually, a good 3 or 4 degrees above average. And then we see it slowly drop below average again. Timing with this colder air mass is still a little bit uncertain. Some models or some ensemble members not exactly going for it. The majority are, include the operational run for a good 2 days perhaps. Much colder air mass returning. Not quite as cold as we have now, but there still could be some winteriness around, and most likely the biggest impacts will be colder temperatures and overnight frosts, before temperatures return to around or above average once again and stay around that for the foreseeable future, with quite a lot of precipitation around for the first third of April. Middle of April, you saw with that GFS Operational Run, maybe high pressure returning. No massive signal on the ensembles here, because the Operational Run is one of the mildest runs at the end, and there are plenty of precipitation spikes on some of the other ensembles, so we'll have to see what happens with that, but at this stage it's just something to keep an eye on. If we do have a look at the ECMWF Ensembles, see what they're showing over the next couple of weeks, very, very similar. Very cold at the moment, then turning much milder this weekend, or by the end of the weekend into Monday, and then we do see a drop in temperatures, perhaps not as optimistic as some of the other, as the GFS and its ensembles in terms of turning much colder. Quite a few of the ensemble members do, including the operational and the control run, so perhaps the ECMWF run is just lagging a little bit, because of course this is the midnight run, and we did have a look at the 6Z run from the GFS, so perhaps it is just evolving throughout the ensembles, and once the next ECMWF ensemble run does come out, the midday run, perhaps we will be seeing most of them going colder. But the operational run and control run are going much colder, along with maybe about a third or to a half of the ensemble members. And then along with the GFS, I do think it's very likely we see that colder plunge towards the sort of middle to end of next working week. And then the temperatures rise once again to around or above average and stay around that all the way to the middle of April, but with a lot of precipitation around, meaning it doesn't look like things will be turning much drier in the short period. Of course, we do see a signal from the GFS Operational Run, but I don't want to look too much into that at this stage, because of course that is sort of 2 weeks' time, very uncertain time frame. So it's cold at the moment with a lot of wintry showers around. If you do enjoy wintry weather, it's a bit of a treat over the next few days before we sort of go, winter goes back into hibernation, perhaps for the next sort of 8 months or so until sort of November, December time. But for the time being, it's looking cold. Warmer weather doesn't look like it's on the horizon, unfortunately. It's not going to be a massive washout over the next week or so, but there is going to be precipitation around. Most days will have the risk of showers, and it's going to be very cold overnight, with widespread frosts over the next sort of 3 or 4 nights. A couple of nights respite before potentially more frosts around towards the middle to end of next working week. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Stay safe out there in this wintry weather, and I'll see you again for another video soon.